Although mental pain can be used as a band-aid, quick and easy, but mental pain is impossible. People say you can't break a heart. Most people try to sew it back together, but in the end, it just breaks into more pieces.
I want to talk about fear. Fear is like a door you can open, but you're afraid of what's behind it. Fear is like a guitar string. You don't know it's out of tune unless you try the chord. Fear often jumps out at you, because you could have fear and not know it. If you have a fear as big as the sun, for example, then you most likely try to stay away from anything that triggers it. People don't realize what those triggers are, and you don't say anything about your fear because you're afraid of what people will say. Fear consumes the mind, but we can fight against the thought, so we can fight against the fear, so don't give up.
I want to talk about fear and sadness. Everyone goes through a heartbreak or loss. They shouldn't have to bundle up their feelings because they're afraid that people will make fun of them, or fear that they will be called weak, because the people who express their feelings are strong. They don't care if they get called weak. Strong people don't put on a fake face or hide behind a screen. Do you know what I say to the people who make fun of the strong people? Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will only fuel my lungs. So get up and fight. Be who you are. You know what? There are friends and family who will love you for who you are. It's going to be okay.
Imagination. I think everyone has it. And it's the thing where you can pick up a pine cone and imagine a grenade, or you can pick up a stick, imagine a gun. You can say that you're in war. But then your mom calls you in for supper, and then you use your bath towel as a cape. Now you're Superman. Because imagination is powerful.
I want to talk about fear. Not even one specific thing, just the feeling in general. There's different types of fear. For example, a fear of heights, animals, and bugs. And then there's also a fear of telling your parents something they're not going to be happy hearing, or the feeling of rejection, the feeling of not being enough, and many more things. And even though they're all very different types of fear, they all have something in common. They can all be overcome. Even though it's scary and you get this crippling feeling down your spine, your stomach feels inside out, your heart is pounding, and you pay attention to every little thing, wondering what's going to happen next. You start to feel very light and sweat. And even though there will be people that will be by your side and giving you sympathy and telling you to just avoid your fears, that's cool. But the truth is, do it. Tell your parents that thing. Make that spider in your room that you hate your pet. Go to that scary roller coaster you've been avoiding. Follow your dreams. Get the courage to do the things you never thought you would. And everyone dies one day, so don't you want people to remember you? Don't you want to take your last breath having no regrets? Don't you want to tell your grandkids all the fun stories? And don't you want to teach them to do this, or fun stories about you having fun? And don't you want to teach them to do the same? All your biggest dreams are behind the wall of fear. And even if you make consequences, or even if following your dreams causes consequences, at least you could say, hey, I lived.
Pain. Pain can feel like elephants stomping on you, or it can feel like a million of little paper cuts. Pain is horrible because it can feel so uncomfortable, and after you feel pain, you wish you never did that dumb thing. Pain can be an accident, and you just feel... Pain is something we need. It teaches us what not to do. That is what I think pain is.
I want to talk about fear, the feeling of falling into a dark hole knowing there's no way out. Or the feeling of not fitting in knowing you're way over your head. Knowing if there's, and not knowing if there's greatness in the end waiting for you. But you hope you'll find the light at the end of the tunnel.
Pressure. It's a feeling that I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with but not fond of. A feeling that is kind of indescribable because the only word you can use is pressure itself. It's the feeling you get during a test when you don't have the answer and the clock keeps ticking as if it's constantly mocking you. The pressure to be as good as everyone else. Pressure to be better. The pressure of not knowing if people are only keeping their eyes on you just to see you fail. An insane amount of pressure until all the pressure becomes like a huge wave, knocking you off your surfboard of happiness. Like the crust on a sandwich, because that's the worst part of the sandwich and nobody likes it. Okay, it's more of a personal problem, but and now I'm hungry. But anyway, probably the worst pressure of all is pressure of having to come up with a good way to end this.
Let's take a moment to talk about courage. Courage is something about confidence. It's something like getting up in front of all of these people and saying these things. It may take a while to have the courage kick in. And also another thing about courage, it's very rare to find in people. So let's see if you have the gut to have courage in you.
I feel bad for those with homophobic parents. Gender is not your choice. Sexuality is not your choice. Your gender does not have to be your birth gender. Your sexuality does not have to be straight. No one gets to choose your sexuality, gender, or pronouns. Whether you are a trans demigirl with she, they pronouns and bisexual, or a gay cis male, no one can change that. Most of the time, not even you. You can say you're something you're not, but that doesn't change anything.
Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. You might get a sweet surprise where everything works out great, or you can get one that's not so nice, where everything goes down south. In both, you still get a surprise, either good or bad. But you know what? That's life. Things and people can have the same effect as the chocolate. They can seem sweet and innocent on the outside, but still be toxic and harming you from the inside without you even noticing it. To be honest, life usually goes that way. The people who you think are really nice and sweet and that will never hurt you, will. And the people who you think might not are really the bad ones.
I want to talk about best friends. Best friends are like a dog that holds you during the storm, like birds singing to the other. You think of your other half when alone, since you miss them more than chocolate or vanilla ice cream. Like choreography and sync with the music and rhythm. Your other half is so special to you. You're so special to them. Opposites will attract, but the same stuff you enjoy turns out to be better than before. Best friends are inseparable. Could be days, weeks, or even years. But the connection you feel is more than a sign. It's a gift.
You ever follow the words of the great prophets before? No, not the biblical, philosophical, theological, technical. No! I'm talking about the magnificent, the mesmerizing, the musical Marshall Mathers telling us to lose yourself in the music the moment you own it. You better never let it go. Plot twist. You ever find that moment? Felt the truth of those words? The world disappears. There's nothing but yourself. You float in unending space, the great vacuum of getting in the zone. There is only you and what got you there. No audience, just the vibrating strings under your finger while you play your guitar that gently weeps a cry of notes you've never heard before, known, or may never once again know. No competitors, just a ball in your hand and the chord of your choice, empty save for the goal you have tunnel visioned on, and the lights coming out afterwards when you get in. No studio, just a pencil in your hand and the paper that isn't really there, just a location for your creation to come to fruition out of your imagination. They call it the zone when you're on your own. The sights and the sounds when there's nothing around. Marshall had it half right though. You lose yourself, but you've never been more found. It's just so profound when ain't nobody around who wouldn't be down to get in the zone. Whatever your journey, it's the same destination to mindful salvation when the spark turns to fire and from it inspire that moment that you do own. And you better never let it go till you're back in from out of the zone.